Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Finally, Westminster has responded to the SNP's outrageous lying claims that the government, the Westminster government, did not give sufficient money, nor that it gave sufficient ring-fenced money. Because after all, as Westminster will point out, and you'll see, Westminster doesn't ring-fence anything. It just gives them money and says, deal with it. But the lies have still been said. They keep lying because they can't do anything else. And Westminster have had enough of it, and they're putting the record straight. That, of course, will really annoy all the lying liars in Holyrood. You know, the ones that wear the yellow rosettes. They're the big liars. Because they don't want people pointing out their lies. They certainly don't want Westminster highlighting their ineptitude and their lies and their lack of humanity. For it is nothing else. So they'll probably be out on the warpath saying this is typical of the Westminster government, blah, 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 interfering in Scottish politics and all that usual old mubble that comes out of these people's gobs. But it won't wash. We all know the truth, and we are completely agreeing that Westminster are right. I'm going to guarantee there'll be comments from the SNP supporting morons in the comments going, and we don't care. You're free to write. We don't mind. You can write what you like. We just don't listen. Let's have a look at the story. Here goes. So, UK government brutally slaps down the SNP executive over the misleading budget statement as it hits back at the Westminster blame game. Misleading, of course, I keep saying misleading is the political term for you lying bastards. But it is. They're just liars, aren't they? The Scottish Government was accused of blaming Westminster for its £1.5 billion budget black hole as it claimed the UK Treasury had ring-fenced funds, forcing cuts to Scotland's NHS. We know it's a lie, Westminster knows it's a lie, and let's face it, the SNP knows it's a lie. But they have to lie to their stupid supporters because they know the stupid supporters will believe the lies because they're stupid. And so you got all these stupid SNP supporters going, oh, look at what Westminster's done. Oh, look at Westminster's done. How do you know that Westminster's done that? Because the SNP told me. You do know they're liars, don't you? Yes, I know they're liars, but the SNP told me. Why are you believing them if you know they're liars? I'm stupid. Oh, that's right. So they keep telling the lies. They keep getting away with the lies. But no more. Westminster's had enough. And they've answered back and said, look, stop lying. Stop absolutely lying through your teeth, you bunch of liars. The UK government brutally slapped down the SNP executive over its misleading complaints about the millions of pounds handed over each year. A row is developing between the two governments ahead of Shona Robertson's budget announcement on Tuesday. This was yesterday morning before the budget was released. It's one of the, we get so many stories, I don't get them out in time. But this was done yesterday morning before the story. Anyway, Humza Yousaf and his ministers have been claiming that the money they are receiving from Westminster is not enough. My God, there isn't enough money in the world for these people. We only have to look at the billions that they've salted away, ready for when the regime fails and they all fly off to wherever they're going, whatever third world place that hasn't got an extradition treaty they'll be. South America for some, Middle East for others. We all know which way some people are going. We all know which way other people are going. Although I'd suggest to all the gay and lesbian ones, don't go to the Middle East. Won't last long there, mate. Anyway, Humza Yousaf and his ministers have been claiming that the money they're receiving is not enough. They're placing the blame for any funding cuts and income tax rises squarely at the door of number 10. However, critics have pointed out that it is 16 years of nationalist mismanagement to blame for the £1.5 billion budget black hole. After all, it's not Westminster that's squandering money on all these things that they do not need to be squandering money on. After all, Westminster aren't producing glossy brochures for independence. Westminster aren't paying £6 or £8 million a month for spin doctors. Hey, who's doing that? Who could possibly be the ones behind all that? Anyway, the Scottish Government ratcheted up its grievances on Saturday by posting a controversial statement on Twitter where it claimed NHS funding in England would mean cuts to the health service in Scotland. And we know it is complete and utter horseshit. They're saying there, below inflation funding uplifts for England's NHS mean a real terms cut to the funding Scotland receives for our NHS. And that, of course, is completely untrue because there's no ring-fenced money. Also, when Shona did her budget yesterday, she made a big show. We're giving 100 million to the NHS, as though it was a big grandiose thing, and it's massively below. It's a massive real terms cut in the budget to the NHS, and I've literally just done a video prior to this one showing the massive problems with cancer treatment in the NHS. So anything they say about the NHS in Scotland is clearly horseshit, because they are the ones who have destroyed it by not funding it. Anyway, the image came with this message: below inflation funding uplifts in Scotland impact Scotland's budget. Sorry, in England impact Scotland's budget. And in the UK government's autumn statement, only 10.8 million of extra funding was provided for NHS Scotland next year, a real terms cut. This would fund just 5 hours of NHS Scotland activity, and we know utter horseshit. Anyway, this has been labelled misinformation or lies, because the Barnett consequentials to which this is referring are not ring-fenced as we've covered in the past. It means cash can be sent wherever the government choose to go, usually independence. The UK government has now publicly responded to this claim and pointed out that public spending in Scotland is substantially above the UK average. In addition, £1,521 for each person in Scotland in 22-23, which is known as the union dividend. And in a thread on X, it highlighted how much cash it hands to its Scottish partnerships. That means the state, the Westminster state, spends £1,500 more on each individual in Scotland than it does on each individual in any of the other home nations. And the SNP think that's not enough. Imagine your life now, knowing that you're getting an extra £1,500 per person per year from Westminster. Do you still want independence? Do you still want that freedom to be poor? That freedom to have no hospitals? That freedom to die of starvation in your cold homes? And this, of course, is why the SNP supporters are stupid, because they actually want that. They actually want to be impoverished, to have the schools destroyed, to have no NHS, to be jobless, hopeless, futureless, joyless. That's all they're going to get. But hey, we know the SNP are lying to us, and we know we're better off in the union, but we're still voting for the SNP because we're stupid. Hey, there's no winning, is there? There's no winning with these people. Anyway, it said that the Scottish Government's block grant is a record £41 billion handed over to Scotland. Now, like I say, imagine Scotland without £41 billion being handed over. Good luck. Seriously, good luck. Anyway, this was the autumn statement providing at ScotGov with an additional £554 million on top in Barnett consequentials over the next 2 years, funding it can spend on priorities it chooses. Independence, not the NHS. So please, as you're watching your loved ones die around you, just be thankful you ticked the moron box on the ballot paper. That's what you wanted. That's what you got. Independence, which won't happen, so you tick the box for the party that is doing you the most harm because of the lack of brain power. Is it any wonder the country is falling apart when it is run by morons, voted in by morons, none of whom can see the damage that it's causing because they're all too damn stupid. It's everyone else that has to pay for it, though. It's up to the people of Scotland. Next general election, vote them out. Next council elections, vote them out. Next Holyrood election, vote them out. And then Labour comes in and destroys everything that they have done. They have to. Labour, who comes in, it has to start from scratch. It has to dismantle so much, particularly the toxicity in the society caused by sociopaths and hate-filled sharts of shit like Sturgeon. She's created the division. Ah, well, what can you do? Vote them out. That's the only way. Anyway, I shall stop there, come up and round off. But it goes to show that even the Westminster now have had enough of their bullshit and lies, and are putting the record straight and saying, you've just had the biggest settlement in history. It's not our fault. You're wasting it on independence. Coming up. The trouble with the SNP supporter, your average SNP supporter, is Firstly, very, very stupid. Secondly, so stupid, can't accept that they're that stupid. And so they have to mindlessly keep on supporting a party that they know is doing them harm. But if they were to give it up and say, oh no, I'm going to stop supporting it, I realise that I've been lied to and that, they'd feel a bit stupid about themselves. It's like religion, isn't it? You're brought up in a religion, you're like, all of a sudden you're like, why am I doing this? I'm not really religious. Oh, but I better stay because otherwise I'll look stupid having believed in this for so long. If I say I don't believe in it anymore, people will think I'm a wanker. No, the other way. It's the other way. If you stop believing in the SNP and wake up to reality, smell the coffee, join the human race, you'll find your life will improve no end. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And I say, finally, to all those SNP supporters who do watch me, keep watching. You'll learn. One day you'll wake up in the universe and go, he's right. The SNP are a bunch of useless tossers and my life is made miserable and my children are dying and they're not getting an education and I look around and see Scotland falling apart and it's 17 years of SNP. It's got nothing to do with England. Bye.